You're watching WHPS, Highland Park, Detroit.
FM 88.1 WHPR, Highland Park.
WVIE 107.3 FM Charlotte, Amalia, Virgin Islands.
The views and opinions expressed on the following show are not necessarily the views and opinions of WHPS, its affiliates, management, or sponsors.
What's happening, Detroit? You are tuned in to Black Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream, Straight Talk with Valerie on 88.1 FM, WHPR Detroit. And if you're in the Virgin Islands, 107.3 WVIE. And to everyone that's tuned in to the Facebook Live, what's happening, what's happening, what's happening. We have a very exciting show tonight. You know, we've always talked about survival and what it takes for us to survive in the Black community. And one of the things it takes is for the police and the prosecutor's office to stop taking full advantage of poverty, mental illness, addiction, and any other socioeconomic factor that comes into play with the trauma that causes some of the things that go on in our community that turns us into victims. So tonight we're going to have a conversation, and I have with me my warrior sister, the founder of Survivor Speaks, Trisha Duckworth. Say what's up, Trisha.
What's up, Detroit? And thank you, Valerie, so much for allowing me to be a part of this amazing show to honor the legacy and where our sister Victoria Burton-Harris is headed. So thank you.
Yes, and we do have Victoria Burton-Harris as our guest this evening. It's experiencing some technical difficulties. So as soon as we can bring her in, we will bring her in. But before we get to that, since the 1960s, there have been demonstrations around this country to address police brutality, racial inequities, socioeconomic disadvantages, and anything else that we can think of that would fall under the category of reprehensible, and also things that further validate the fact that we need reparations, because reparations is to repair. Now, what that looks like is a myriad of things. Some people feel like we deserve them. Some people feel like we don't. But at the core of it, what I would like to see, now that the protesting has died down for now, and we have elected new officials in office, it's accountability time. And what I would like to see are individuals who had all of these campaign promises and did all of these things on their platforms be held accountable for what they said they were going to do. Now, I don't give a damn how many melanated people of color get appointed to positions in Joe Biden's cabinet. I'm not one to get extremely excited about the first Black anything, and not that I'm hating, But we shouldn't even still be talking about the first black anything in 2021. So I'm sort of dismayed to still have to say we are still getting our first after all of these years. So I'm not hating. I applaud those individuals. I'm pretty sure they were very well vetted, and I'm pretty sure they deserve the positions that they were appointed to from Biden's point of view. All I'm saying is this is not an all black and white issue. It's a people issue. And the right people have to be in place. Because, see, you can be white and not fight for me. You can be white and not understand where I'm coming from. You can be white and not see things through my lens. But you can also be black and not fight for me. You can also be black and not understand the struggle of the black community. And you can also be black and not see things through my lens or lens of people most affected. I had told Trisha before, even if Kamala Harris or Joe Biden decided that they wanted to talk to Valerie Bonner, we heard about this Black Coffee platform. We're going to reach out and we want to talk to her. We're going to talk to her about what's going on in the city of Inkster right now. We're going to talk to her about what's going on the west side of Detroit right now. I would have had to respectfully decline. I don't live in Inkster anymore. You know, that's my hometown. I go back there. I work there. My mother still lives there. I don't live there anymore. Not saying I have to live there to understand what's going on, but the policies, the practices, and the laws that are executed there don't affect me. I don't live there. Now, if they would have asked me what was going on the west side of Detroit, off 7 Mile, I still would have had to respectfully decline, because the things that affect Detroiters the most don't affect me. So I am not going to put myself in a position to speak for anybody else or give my perception of what I think the problem may be and what I think the solution is. You need to ask the people who are affected by the problem. Now, my dear sister, she looks at things from a different perspective because she has different experiences than I have. So, Trisha, what do you think about that? All those people that he's appointing, Joe Biden. How do you feel about it?
Well, I feel like he stood up and claimed that he knew that the Black community helped him to win. So in my opinion, there should be more melanin, sprinkled throughout that office. You can't claim diversity because you have a cabinet full of our Caucasian sisters, right? So yeah, I am for building and bonding with any race, right? But I also am for racial equity. And what does that look like? That looks like putting us in positions, like-minded people, right? That think like we do, in positions that have this influence. And you know, the thing about it is this: I'm not necessarily sold on Biden. I had to vote for him, but in my opinion, he's a part of the machine as well. And that's why I keep telling people we got to groom our own candidates. We got to groom our own people, and all of this stuff has to take place before an election happens. You know what I mean? No more something for nothing. We got to really take our votes and wage them and let people know that you're not going to just get our vote. We have some demands. We need some deliverables so that you can get our vote. And that just doesn't happen. So, I mean, you know, I'm all for whoever is about fairness and justice for all in the seat, but I also feel like we as a people need more seats just so that it can provide more racial equity.
I agree with that, but I still want to see something. I don't care how many melanated people or people of color that he's positioned and put in seats and things of that nature. What I do want to see is change. Yes.
Hey, Victoria, she's in the waiting room too, by the way. But she just texted me and said, listen, all skin folk ain't kin folk. And that's the truth. You know what I'm saying? So just because someone has that position doesn't mean they have our best interests at heart, just like you said. And that's why we have to know, right, who we are putting in office and who are taking these seats. You know, we have to know your ideology. Just because you're qualified for the job does not mean you're going to represent fairness for all, or that it's going to be about racial equity. I don't care at this point in 2021, it's got to be about racial equity and people that understand that, in my opinion.
I agree, and I like that. All skin folk ain't kin folk. You know,
Did not know you were gonna do that.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, sis, how you doing? Thank you so much for having me on. I'm honored to be here.
Oh, I am honored to have you. I've heard so much about you, and we have a sister in common, Trisha. You know, we work together by day at my agency. She's the social worker there, and then we work together by night and on this show. And man, our paths didn't get a chance to cross, but I was rooting for you. But I call this show When Jesus Says Yes, Nobody Can Say No.
Amen.
So we want to welcome to Black Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream, Chief Prosecutor-elect Victoria Burton-Harris. Say what's up to everybody.
Hey, what's going on? I am so excited to be here. First of all, I love the title, Black Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream. That means no mess.
That's right.
Give it to it straight. That's what I'm all about. So I am very excited, to be here, to be with you two phenomenal sisters, two movers and shakers, and not movers and shakers in the traditional sense, as in you're moving to boost your own resume, but you move within our community and you shake things up for our people. And I love that.
Well, thank you, hon. You know, where did you grow up and what was it like there? Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Flint. Flint, it is, it's a smaller city than Detroit. It is a Black city. And for me growing up, it felt very much so like Georgia moved to Flint. My family migrated from Georgia, from a small little city that's not even on the map. And my grandmother raised her children here after she got divorced and moved north. And the reason why she decided to leave Georgia was because they wanted to keep her out of school to keep picking cotton. And she was like, no, I'm done. So she actually said, I'm done. I'm going to go to Florida, and went to Florida, worked in a flower shop. And she was like, no, this is not where it's at either. So then she said, I'm going to move to Flint, where my father is working in Buick City at the plant. She got a job in the school system as a security guard, and she retired as a security guard from where I went to high school. So I was in the same high school building as my grandmother.
Oh, wow. That's a wonderful
Southern grandmother.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I have a little clip that I want to play, and I'm calling it A Mother's Love, because this is something that your mother said about you.
Oh.
I couldn't be more proud of my baby. I'll share a story. My child has always been a climber, always doing things and going places. Sometimes her dreams are so big that I get scared for her. I was scared for her when she decided to run for Wayne County Prosecutor. But then I saw her vision. I saw she had a deep passion to help people with her mind, heart, and law degree. After her election, I cried for days. I don't think she shed one tear. She was always confident she would still continue fighting for people. But to God be the glory. Her delay was not denial. Look at her now, appointed to do what she loves in a county that will support her drive to help poor people, minorities, youth, and those suffering from mental health issues and drug addiction. She is brilliant with a big heart and is right where she needs to be. I'm always going to be scared for her, but God's got her. That's bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. These are the words of Patsy Mitchell, the mother of Victoria Burton-Harris.
That sentiment from your mother touched the depths of my soul. She said she was scared for you. You've always been a climber. She would be scared. But then she saw your vision and been so supportive. I took that sentiment off of your Facebook page and pictures of you as a little girl, etc., and put together that clip. So I'll have to send it to you so you can see it. But I titled it A Mother's Love. I know that it took so much of that to get you where you are. So let's flash back when you were a little kid. What did you want to be when you grew up? Did you always want to be a lawyer?
You know, when I was a small child, I remember wanting to be a psychologist because I really wanted to help people. I wanted to listen to people's problems and I wanted to help them work through them. And then I think it may have been late elementary, middle school. I was researching. I'm like, whoa, that's a long time to be in school. And so somewhere along the lines and, you know, around that age, like I said, late elementary, middle school, I wanted to become an attorney. I wanted to be a lawyer to, again, help people. And I set out on that journey. I remember being in high school and Googling different large cities that I thought I may want to live in. I remember Naperville was a city, for whatever the reason, that I was just like stuck on living in and working in some high-rise building, being a lawyer and helping a lot of people. And it wasn't until when I got to college that I really understood what I wanted to be. And it wasn't just a lawyer. It was a lawyer that was aware of my Blackness, because I, at U of M, double majored in African American studies and political science. And so it was not lost upon me, this nexus of, Black folks in America and the US political system. And the more I studied, the more I began to see the world in a completely different light. And it was eye-opening, to say the least. And from then I've been on this path and I'll die on it. This is what I was born to do.
Wow, what an amazing path. And I am definitely so grateful that our paths have crossed. It is an honor to know you. But a lot of people may not know you. So what are 3 words that you can give us that describe you?
Oh, I'm a pretty happy person. I think others may call it quirky. I am a little quirky / corny. I'm a loving person. I love to see the good in people, and it makes it easier to love on people. And when I see the bad, I don't see it as a bad thing. It just means that I got something I'm going to work with you on so that we can get to the good. So aside from quirky, loving, another word that would describe me. I think I'm pretty driven. That might also just mean stubborn. I'm an only child. If you can't tell from my mother's words and how hard she holds on and loves. When I have my mind made up, I'm blinders on and I'm going for it.
Wow. That's amazing. Who is someone that you admire, and why do you admire them?
My grandmother. like I shared with you ladies, she didn't take any mess, and she still doesn't take mess. She knew that she did not want to, just spend the rest of her life picking cotton, however long that would have been for her. She knew that she did not want to raise her children in the South. And she knew the kind of life that she wanted to give them. And she was a fighter. She fought for her children. She fought for her grandchildren. I'll tell you a funny joke. I was super active in high school, and I ran for student council president. And remember, my grandmother worked at my school. And I came up short by like a handful of votes. She hauled her tail into the principal's office and said, "You're going to do a recount because I smell something fishy with this count." Do you know my grandmother made the student count?
Hey, that's all right.
Oh my.
Oh, so yeah, she's just she fights for what is right. It may not be popular. She may be the only one standing in the room. Trisha would love her because Trisha has this saying, "I stand with you 10 toes down." That's my grandmother. She don't care if she's standing alone, but if she feels in her soul that she's right, or if she's fighting for someone that everyone else has either mistreated or discarded and dismissed, she's gonna fight to the death for that person. And she's done a lot, and I didn't realize it until we gave her a surprise 75th birthday party. And to hear so many people in the city of Flint come out and share with her the impact that she had on their lives. She never knew it because she never asked for that. She didn't care about awards and accolades and, praise. That was just her. That was her nature. And she cried. And I didn't see my grandmother cry very often in my life, but she cried that day at her birthday party because she never knew she had that impact on people. And it was because she always fought for them.
Oh,
Wow, that's so touching, and it just resonates, and it reminds me of you, right? Because you definitely fight, for people, and there's so much to fight for. So, what are some of the causes that you really, really care about?
I care deeply about the fight for Black liberation. And, when you talk about Black liberation, that's talking about having more equity in our education system so that Black folks can be free and not be relegated to the bottom of society, not be relegated to the bottom because they've been stamped with an F, a felony, or a criminal record in general. I care about Black folks having more equitable options as it relates to housing, as it relates to jobs. I want Black folks to be free to be Black. I want Black folks to not have to fight so hard. Our ancestors have been fighting for 400 years. And I can't think of anything more worthwhile in terms of fighting for other than Black liberation, because we've never been free since we've been taken from Mother Africa and brought to this land to build it, to create an economy and to boost that economy, but never benefit from it. Never. How much longer are we going to have to fight? And I've accepted that we're going to fight my lifetime, my child's lifetime, my grandchildren's lifetime. That's what we'll be doing. But if I had to pick one thing that I am the most passionate about, it is the liberation of our people.
I hear you, my sister. Same here. 400 years is a long time, too long, and we still fighting, each and every day. How long have you practiced law?
I have practiced, I graduated 8 years ago, began practicing 6 years ago, and I started practicing criminal defense and family law. Again, I wanted to go into 2 practice areas where I could really be hands-on with people and help real people with real problems. I started off doing, not criminal law, I started off doing big law, corporate law. And every year I kind of got away from that Started out a big firm, went to a medium-sized firm, had a short stint, interning for the federal government. And it wasn't until Rashida Tlaib came to speak to one of my law classes. And I was going through a transition, didn't quite know what I was going to do next. I just knew that I was at the time was doing labor law. I knew that was not for me. I didn't like going in and I was doing labor law and insurance defense. I didn't like going in and looking at people who looked like me and I was on the other side hurting them. I'm fighting to keep benefits from them. I'm fighting so that they don't get a payout for a very serious injury only because there was a loophole that they were out of the state for a day too long on vacation. And so therefore they may not have met the residency requirement, foolishness like that. I didn't want to do that. I knew that I wanted to like who I looked at in the mirror in the morning, and I wanted to be able to sleep at night. I wanted to do work that moved me, that I cared deeply about, and that was going to have an impact on people that I was connected to. And so Rashida Tlaib, when she came, after she got done speaking our class, and it was a class that actually Jocelyn Benson was teaching. They were very good friends, and when she came and spoke, she ended with, you all, once you get these law degrees, are really only going to have two options. You can fight on the right side or the wrong side. And if you don't pick a side, you are inevitably on the wrong side already. So I knew I had to be intentional about what I chose to do with this degree. And I knew that I owed a great debt to those who had gone before me. It's very special to be in this skin, to have this kind of a law license. It's a powerful degree. And to have it, you owe a responsibility to use it to help as many people as you can. And that's not to say that you use it to only help Black people. But for me, I want to use it to help all marginalized people, because what's done to me, to my brother and my sister, it's done to all of us. So I want to use my degree and my privilege and position of power to uplift people that are living and plagued with poverty, folks who have mental health issues and just cycle in and out of the criminal justice system unnecessarily because there's no, intervention to disrupt that cycle. I want to use it to help our babies. We are increasingly jailing and imprisoning more and more of our young people. And at what point do we say enough is enough? This is the wrong direction to go. Who's going to be left? So for me, that's it.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, you guys who just tuned in, you are listening to Black Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream, Straight Talk with Valerie, and we have Chief Prosecutor-elect Victoria Burton-Harris on the line with us. And when Jesus says yes, nobody can say no. So Wayne County said no, but Washtenaw County said yes. So we're going to go to a break, and we're going to hear a song called Chocolate Kiss by Mike Jeffers, and we'll be back.
I can't prove myself to you in one night, but just give me a chance. You'll see how genuine I really am.
This kiss was just a thought, it's now my reality. I've been around so many girls, but none of them quite like you. I can see us being together as one. I hope you feel the same way too. I give anything to taste your chocolate kiss, your sweet and tender kiss, those tender lips, to taste your chocolate kiss, your chocolate kiss. And I need my fix. I need your love. Want you so bad I can't resist. I need your love. Nobody's ever made me feel like this. Love. To taste your chocolate kiss. Kiss you, taste you, love you, baby.
And you just heard a song called Chocolate Kiss by Mike Raw Voice Jeffers. And that is a soundtrack to a movie called The Same. And you can view that movie on Amazon Prime. So check it out, Chocolate Kiss. I think you'll like it. I like the name. So we're going to go back to our interview with Chief Prosecutor-elect Victoria Burton-Harris. So take it away, Trisha.
Tell us what you were doing when you heard that Eli Savitt had selected you as Chief Assistant Prosecutor.
Well, it happened in stages. So Eli, after the primary, he called me up. He said, I'm sorry that you didn't win, but I still want to congratulate you for running such a phenomenal race. And I would be honored if you would come and sit on my transition team as a member of my kitchen cabinet who will help advise me during the transition period. And so I said, well, I would be honored to do that. We ran on similar platforms. I want as many folks across the state, across the country, to experience progressive prosecution. So I'm happy that Washtenaw County got it right and voted you in. I will be happy to come and sit on that transition team. And it was supposed to be from the end of the primary until, January when he took office or takes office. But that turned into an opportunity for me to be considered to be appointed as his chief deputy. And I read the job description when it was posted. I submitted a resume and a cover letter. I excused myself from the meeting when applicants were discussed. And I got back on, finished the meeting. And I don't remember if it was, I think it was like right after that meeting, he called me and he said, I'd like to offer you an interview. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I want to say that meeting was a Tuesday. The interview was the following Sunday. So it was the Sunday before the general election. And we sat down for about an hour and a half on Zoom, maybe even 2 hours. And at the end of the interview, he offered the appointment to me. And I tried to, play coy and say, oh, I'm going to tell you in 24 hours. I called him back that day. And I said, yes, I will take this appointment. I will happily accept. And at the time that I accepted the appointment, I didn't know how historical it was. Had no idea that I was the first ever female chief assistant prosecutor for Washtenaw County. Had no idea that Washtenaw County officials in general don't really look like me. We have a Black sheriff. We have a Black county administrator. We have, but I don't think he's elected. We do have a Black woman who's running the public defender's office, but she is also not elected. So, and I'm not elected, but to join the ranks of Black folks in Washtenaw County who are sitting at the table where policies are being made that are going to effectuate our people and or affect our people and effectuate change for our people. That was really exciting to me and for me. So I was thrilled.
That's amazing, because I do believe that you and Ellie have kindred spirits. And I do believe that, you know, you ran on the same platform and you were basically going down the same road. I was so excited when I heard the news. I think I was screaming to the top of my lungs like, yes, you know, just so excited to have a breath of fresh air in that office. Because see, for decades, people have won elections because of prosecutors, tough on crime tactics and those type of things, you know, at the expense of low income people, basically, with all of the systems that they put in place and, you know, the biased plea deals and all of these other things. So I happened to find a clip where you were out on the campaign trail, and it is exactly what we needed for people to hear that are tuned in as a refresher on what Victoria Burton-Harris is about and what she plans to do. Can you roll that clip for me, Marquise?
There must be a reckoning. We need a system that works, not as it was designed, but for us. For all of us. We know the criminal justice system is racist and profits off the bodies of our brothers and sisters. We know that we have to interrupt this system, dismantle this system, and build something different, something new, something that our oppressors will never give us. We got to demand it. We got to take it. Power concedes nothing. It never has and it never will. We must take the power to keep our people out of jails and prisons, the power to keep 1 in every 4 Black boys under the age of 25 out of the hands of these officers and their chains. The power to divest from jails and prisons and invest in our communities, our people, our children. We must take the power from our officials who are doing nothing to protect, uplift, and advance our people, but everything in their power to cage our people, kill our people. We have pleaded and protested. We have demanded arrests and charges and convictions. And that's what we are going to continue to do. The work of the people, the work of the few for the masses. And as one of my mentors told me today, y'all, we were built for this shit.
That was a profound statement. But what got me when you said we was built for this shit, because you have to be to walk in the shoes that you've walked in. I'm sure there are a lot of wars and battles that you fought that we're not even aware of before your feet hit that campaign trail. I too have been the only Black and female in corporate America at a major pharmaceutical company, Pfizer, as a matter of fact. That's why I ain't taking a shot. But, you know, for a sense of that, that same statement, you have to be built for it. But some of the things that you said and that you spoke about, I'm sure are going to take place during this transition. And these transition teams that were developed by Ellie and cultivated by you as well, I think is a wonderful idea to prepare for where you're going. Because as I said at the intro of this show, you can't come in and just think you know what is good for somebody. You have to ask them what is good for them. You have to get a census of what's going on before you can move forward. I am a part of the addiction transition team, but haven't been as active as I would have liked because other things going on. But Trisha, can you speak to your experience for some of the transition teams that you have sat on and what that's been like?
It has been an absolute amazing experience, you know, to see people from different backgrounds come together, put their minds together, you know. And what I love is that Ellie is humble enough to even do something like this. Like, he doesn't have to do this. He doesn't have to have a transition team. He doesn't have to do these things. But because A, he promised them, and then B, because this is just his heart. I guess that would be the first thing, because it is his heart. He is a true servant. Victoria is a true servant. So you can just watch everything that they've talked about over the last few months coming to pass in these transition meetings. And I'm just sitting back like, yes, oh my goodness. It's just been amazing to watch. So
that's a wonderful
Valerie,
thing.
you hit the nail on the head. There's a saying, Nick Buckingham from Michigan Liberation, he often repeats it, that those who are closest to the pain, those who are most directly impacted, those are the people who have the solutions to their own problems. Mm-hmm. But yet they're the furthest from the resources and the power to bring that change that they need. That is so important that leaders and elected officials, government officials understand that, because at their core, their very essence, they're a servant. I am a servant. That means that I serve the people. I don't serve Victoria. I serve at the pleasure of Eli Savitt, but I don't even serve Ellie. Ellie and Victoria, we serve Washtenaw County. We serve the people. And we care about making sure that in our journey to serve the people as best we can, we are constantly staying tethered to the people. So that means that we're meeting with the people, we're sitting down, we're going to where the people are, we're meeting them where they are. That means that we are going into schools, we are going into neighborhoods that maybe officials have never gone into. We're building community partnerships and relationships with various organizations so that we can together coordinate and bring about the change that we're asking for. Because we know that the solutions, they don't lie in jails and prisons. They lie they're already in the community. We just have to invest in them.
Mm-hmm. You know, there is a paradigm shift, like I alluded to earlier. You know, a lot of prosecutors run their race off of this tough on crime mentality and, you know, tougher laws and on all of these other things. There was a shift. Your campaign, nor Ellie's, ran on that premise. It was totally different. And despite you being the first Black female in this position, there is going to be another shift in culture in this office. Can you give us a little feel of what that's like as far as how you would define it? Because, see, the person that's the outgoing prosecutor was horrible. And so anything and everything that had to do with how they operated, I'm sure there are a lot of people who liked it, but there are far more of us who didn't. And so there has to be this whole shift now coming in with your new ideology, the ideas that you and Ellie have, the transitions that you want to make, the laws and things and policies that you want to see change. That's a huge shift. Can you speak on that a little bit for us?
Sure. So I'll preface this by saying that I have never met Brian Mackey and I don't know him. But what I do know is what we're planning to come in and do that's a little bit different. So Ellie ran on a couple of really big ideas. One, ending cash bail as best as prosecutors can in terms of what we ask for. He also ran on, the promise to end zero tolerance policies in the prosecutor's office. When asked what's the first thing that he will do on day one, January 1, he's coming in with a policy that's ending zero tolerance policies and practices. So he is keeping every promise that he made on the campaign trail. In terms of cash bail, he and I do think differently. And I am happy to say, though, that the thinking is starting to shift across the state, in large part due to the joint task force on jails and pretrial detention that the governor convened about a year ago. The Pew Research Institute, they contributed to the findings with their research, but then folks from across the state gave testimony. And that was heavily considered in the final recommendations for this package of bills. And people are slowly getting to the point where they're understanding what we're doing is really cruel. Mm-hmm. We are holding people pre-trial. These are folks who are innocent, who have not either pled guilty or been found guilty. And we're holding them in a jail cell pending trial just because they're too poor to buy their own freedom. It is 2020. The research doesn't support that. In fact, the research says that across the state of Michigan, people who enter the county jails and leave having paid no money, 87% of them, they reappear. 89% don't reoffend. So this idea that we need people to pay to promise and guarantee that they're going to return to court and not reoffend and harm the community, it's just nonsense. It's a total lie. And it's, money is not a good measure for if someone is a danger to society or if they're likely to return to court. And Ellie and I are coming in and saying, look, we're not going to be asking for cash bail. We are going to, one, look at jail as the absolute last alternative. And before we get there, we're going to request non-monetary conditions so that we can ensure a person is coming back to court and we can ensure the community is safe. Because that's at the end of the day what it's about. Are we safer as a community with half of us out of it, not able to contribute? And then when they do return back to the community, again, they've been relegated to the bottom. They can't find a job. They don't have stable, reliable housing. They don't have, as a result of not having a job, reliable health care. Their children are suffering. They don't have the ability to get treatment for various issues that they may be facing. Jails don't fix any of that. In fact, jails actually exacerbate those problems. People go further into poverty after doing a stint in a county jail. People are, again, they lose all stability in their lives, at least they can, and many of them do, in just a very short stint in the county jail. And we don't want to play a role in that. We want to invest in our communities and not take from them. And this is the first step in doing that.
That's wonderful.
We also have other initiatives going, restorative justice programming that we're building out. We have a lot of policies that will roll out, public policies that will be on the website. You will read about them in MLive, in the media. We want to be transparent with the community because Ellie promised the community certain things, and this is his way of delivering and not just telling you that he delivered, but showing you how he's delivering. We will have soon a website that has a dashboard so you can follow along with our progress over the next 4 years to ensure that we've done what we set out to do for this community, because again, this is what the community said that they needed.
That's wonderful to hear you say, I work for the people. because I think a lot of judges and prosecutors and city officials, leaders, mayors, supervisors, I think they forget that they work for the people. And we have to make sure that that stays in the forefront, that you work for us. Mm-hmm. And that comes with that accountability and that. And if you forget, Survivor Speaks will be right there to remind you, because they have the ability to speak, to be a voice for the voiceless. And she uses her platform to help those who are less fortunate. One thing I was happy to hear about was not criminalizing people who are mentally ill and not criminalizing people who have drug addiction. So when I heard you say, you know, a short stint in a county jail basically can ruin your life in a synopsis, but it does exacerbate a mental health condition and a drug addiction. Locking you up in jail is not helping. You know, that's why I like the idea of drug courts and, you know, other courts of that nature that have that specialty and that hone in on that, so they understand what people are going through, what brought them there, because locking them up is not going to detox them. Locking them up is not going to put them on that continuum to sobriety. It will exacerbate the problem. They're probably going to get high as soon as they get out because of the stress and everything else that they're going through, and they do lose their jobs and all of these other things that go along with it for their livelihood. So I am so happy to hear what your transition team has been working on, what your goals are for Washtenaw County, and what it is that you and Ellie set out to do. As always, we run out of time so fast. There were so many other things that we wanted to talk about that we didn't get to. So I hope that you agree to come back and we can have another conversation. I would love to have you. I'm built for this shit too. So we can rock it out together. Trisha, is there anything you would like to close with Victoria before we get out of here?
You know, I just want to say that I truly value you as a woman, a Black woman. You are a role model to me. I look up to you. I study some of the things that you do and how you move, and it has even been helpful to me. I appreciate you, and I want you to know that. And I'm just excited to be able to work alongside you all. So thank you for everything you continue to do. You know, this isn't anything new for you. This is who you are as a person. And that's why you deserve that seat. And I'm so grateful to see you there. So thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. The love and admiration is mutual. I have been a fan of yours from day one. A part of the appeal of this job is knowing that you come along with it. So I am very excited to work alongside you. And let's do it. I'm not going to say what I said back this summer on this show. I'm on my manners now. I'm somebody's elected, or I'm somebody's government official.
Yeah, I understand. And you know, when you're a threat, you're a target. So, but hey, when I heard you say that, I was like, my girl, I was jigging like, hey, because let's get it. Let's get it.
We are absolutely built for this because our ancestors did this and more. So who are we to say that we cannot? We can, we will, we have, and we will continue to do so until, again, we are all free.
Absolutely. So, you know, we're going to bring this show to an end. Thank you, Trisha, my warrior sister, the producer of this show, my friend, my conscience, my voice of reason. I just love you and thank you so much for appearing. My sister, Victoria Burton-Harris, it is a breath of fresh air to see you in the position that you're in, to hear the things that you are saying, because I know you're speaking from your heart. What you're saying is true and you will deliver. And that's what we need. Someone who realizes that they work for the people and that they will keep their word to the people. So power to the people, because like you said, we built for this shit. You have been listening to
Thank you for always being there, always being present. And you are just an amazing woman. And you're another woman that I look up to so much. And I'm so grateful to call you my boss, my sister, and my friend.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. You have been listening to another episode of Black Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream, where I don't try to spill the tea or daze you like you drank a shot of cheap liquor. I just try to bring you things from another perspective, mine. And you know what? Some of us have been running for a long time, and we've been in this fight for a very long time, but now we need you. There's something that everybody can do. So we will talk to you next week, where I'll be back on the corruption that's going on in Oakland County called Devils in the Courtroom. They stealing, and we are going to expose them. Everybody have a wonderful night and a wonderful week, and we're out of here. So long.